Hey, we're gonna carry through anyways. I was at the gym no more or no less than like an hour ago, and I was there with my friend, and I got like a download. It kind of just struck me, and you can go through the day, and I mean, I actually saw a TikTok earlier, which I'm gonna definitely bring up what the context was. Actually, I don't think it was a TikTok. It might have been an Instagram reel. I don't know, but this is why sometimes I kind of don't mind. I've had phases where I'll just delete Instagram or I'll delete. I mean, I've never really been like heavy on TikTok, but I definitely use Instagram quite a bit because I like posting stories because it's like kind of like for me like an outlet for an expression of art, I guess you could say, because I have like a collage of photos and I always have the backdrop of the story post be like a photo that I took out in nature or something like that. So I always like to intertwine my sort of creativeness in those Instagram stories because it's like a creative outlet in a way. But whatever. Point is, I brought up the whole phase of me deleting social media apps because sometimes, I don't know, I'm just like, but everything, depending on how you use it, can benefit you in some way, some things probably not at all, but everything's got its light and dark. I've said that in various videos before, and I think that's a very common sort of understanding. It kind of comes down to how you use it as a tool to benefit you or whatever. But anyways, I saw a TikTok or a reel earlier, and the reason why I also brought up the gym is because I had like a download, and I was like, wow, that really correlates well with the TikTok or reel that I saw earlier. So that might have inspired me a little bit. But whatever. The point is that the reel or TikTok, I forget which of the two it was that I saw, it was talking about the most important relationship you can have in your life is not with someone else, but rather the relationship you have with you is by far the most important relationship you can have, right? And I bring this up to say because, hold up, my nose is a little itchy, but I bring this up to say because honestly, in the past months, and even in the past years, I'd say that in the beginning, I thought that in order, because I had my first ever heartbreak that I really felt that kind of really, not kind of, it really did open me up. Happened around 2.5 years ago, going on to 3 years, right? And that heartbreak really opened me up because, man, I've never had a heartbreak over someone else not feeling the same way as I felt for them before. Like before her, I've never had a heartbreak. And so I thought, like, because I had that heartbreak with her, I'm thinking, wow, this feels so heavy. And I've never felt this before I've never felt this way before when things didn't work out. So I got really attached to the idea or the hopes and the wishes of wishing that something would work out with her, So I got really attached to that heartbreak. And I would do things like here and there to try and see if our dynamic can spark up again or whatever. But that never happened, and that really hurt for a while. Then eventually I had a second heartbreak, which wasn't as deep as the first one, but it definitely also kind of added, some I almost said trauma. I wouldn't say it's trauma. It's more so like it added pain or fuel to my fire because I'm thinking, well, okay, 2 heartbreaks. The first one, I was thinking, if that's the first ever heartbreak I've had, that's got to be the person, because before that first heartbreak, I had maybe 2 to 3 years of, going on dates with several people, and then I've never had a heartbreak when things didn't work out. Next thing I know, I had the heartbreak or whatever. Point is, second heartbreak came around, and then I was like, okay, so it's not her because I can feel this pain again. And then after that, I don't know, you could say I had like 2.5, maybe 3.5. I don't really know. But those didn't really bother me anymore because I started to realize, especially now more than ever, listen, the relationship that you have with yourself, it's not to say that it's like a shield from a heartbreak. It's more so to say that if you have a great relationship with yourself, and don't get me wrong, because what I'm going to say next, it's not going to be like, wow, like if you have a great relationship with yourself, you'll never experience a heartbreak. That's not true. That's not true by any means. A heartbreak is still a heartbreak, regardless of whether you have a great relationship with yourself or not. What I will say is in terms of me being super attached to the dynamic that I have that I wish could go further and all those things, that attachment to the dynamic is still there, right? But whether that person, whether that woman is also participating or also doing things or saying things or also investing herself into this dynamic, whether she's doing that or not, I'm not dependent on that whatsoever. So in terms of like for instance, the woman that I'm sort of talking to at the moment, there are very, very nice things that she has said and that she has done. Like for instance, she's very consistent in terms of keeping in touch with each other, right? Something as little, I wouldn't even say little, because these things really do amount to something. They definitely do. Something like a good morning text, like a good night text, checking in randomly throughout the day, sending a photo of what she's doing, what she just ate, making jokes here and there, a phone call, a FaceTime call. Those things really amount to something. They definitely do. So I'm not saying anything to discredit like the kind of dynamic we have. But I will say in moments, like let's say if I text something in response to her, or if I just text something just because I feel like it, right? And there's no response, maybe for like an hour or so. And like that 1 hour, like looking back, that 1 hour is just 1 hour, right? But in the moment, if I'm sort of, I don't know what the proper term is to use here, but let's just say like if I'm insecure, that 1 hour can feel like an eternity, and I'm thinking, wow, our dynamic completely just fell apart, blah, 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 And it's not to say that I don't think that, because I definitely, the fear, that's a better word to use, the fear definitely creeps in every now and then, right? But notice, for me, I'm noticing I'm not acting upon that fear. I'm not moving with fear when we interact. I'm not, because honestly, and don't get me wrong, I'm still very competitive. Like that's one thing that she actually like pointed out about me. And the very first night that we ever met, I was just playing cup pong, and she said that she saw a very competitive side about me, right? Which is, I never noticed it, to be honest. I just, that's just me. But a woman will tell you parts of yourself that are real true. Like for instance, she told me there was for my birthday party night, we were playing Uno, and I was drunk off my ass, let's just say that. But we were playing Uno, and she was like, I saw like your eyes, like when the moment, or like when the flip switched, when you got real competitive. And she was like, she also saw like my cheeks get really red. Like she was really noticing these things, right? And she was telling me. And so I thought that was like all the things that she's done up until this point have all been great. And that's why I'm like, okay, I know regardless of how I'm, like, even this video alone with what I'm saying, I'm not by any means, don't interpret this as like, oh, I'm talking about myself. Like maybe this is your point of view. He's got such a great understanding of all this and he's fearless. No. Don't interpret me as that. Because again, I've said this before. Don't take what I'm saying as advice. But I mean, maybe you can. But regardless, I'm saying this to say I'm not above anyone. I'm not on a pedestal. I'm not none of that, because I genuinely still have the fear coming into me, right? Like the fear creeps in, and it's just like, oh, it's not gonna work out, all that stuff, right? Because maybe that's just what I'm used to in terms of past dynamics, right? But because, and this is what I'm going to say next, like in terms of being able to kind of deflect the fear and sort of not distract yourself, but really bring love to yourself, because the best relationship to have, it begins with yourself, right? And the reason I'm bringing an emphasis to that right now is because whether she's responding or not, whether things even work out with her or not, to me, of course it matters, because I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, I don't care, Of course I care. Of course I care. If I didn't care, the fear would have been coming in. You know what I'm saying? However, if things don't work out, right? If things do work out, regardless, the love that I've built for myself, that has just come into my life, the love that I share and gets amplified with my friends, with my family, when I'm out on nature walks, when I'm doing these videos, when I'm doing things that genuinely fulfill me, it's like, okay, she doesn't want to walk alongside me. Cool. She walks along. If she's going to walk alongside me, beautiful. Like, we're going to have a great time. We're going to have a great time. I know that to be true. So whether it's her, someone else, it's like, I'm already doing things for me, The best relationship to have is with yourself. And I'm literally living that. I'm living that. And I'm telling you, if fears or insecurities are creeping in, it's okay. It's completely okay. There is nothing wrong with that. That is human. You care. That's how you know you care, right? So if you're doing things like a hike in the forest, like for instance today, I went on 2 separate walks, right? Because I was like, man, if I stay around in the house, and I'm not gonna lie, Like she asked me about jealousy one time, and I told her, like, look, girl, I've gone through your following list on Instagram, and I saw the list of the guys on, sorry, I'm hiccuping and like trying to burp. I saw the list of the guys on like who you're following, and I was like, oh, I'm competing against these guys. I don't give a fuck. I'm better than all of them, you know. But that's just like, that may sound cringe or silly or whatever, but I mean, that's just the kind of mindset, you know. And the point is, like, earlier today, I was kind of thinking, like, man, I don't know, like, she wanted to see me last night. I thought maybe something would come up because like last night I got to work at 10 p.m. So I told her like a week, like last week, like in the latter end of the week, I told her I can't do that. So I just thought, like, oh, maybe we can talk about today. I want to see if she does it, you know, if she makes the approach or steps up to do that. She didn't do it. So I was like, oh man, that sucks. But at the same time, right, I still went out and did my things, you know. I still went out and I went on 2 separate walks. I went to walk around the neighborhood, and then I went to a nature preserve that's just down the road that has this really massive lake, and I walked around there for like 30 minutes. So collectively, I had like almost 8 miles of walking. And then on top of that, just now I came back from dropping off my friend because we went to go hit a workout, and we were there for like an hour and a half. And the entire day, I'm just having a overall, let's say it's like 70% having a great time doing things that really fulfill me, 30%, just random numbers, 30% maybe being like stressed out, worried, the fear kicking in, insecurities, whatever it may be, you know. But as long as like I'm doing things for myself, and it's not like don't get me wrong, all of it is human, and all of it serves a purpose, right? But this is what you can say is like, this will make you more attractive, I guess you could say, because it's like, oh, you're not crumbling down for like an hour of just like not texting. It's like being less dependent of someone else because of your fears. Like if your fears are making you dependent on somebody, you're kind of feel like you're gonna make that person potentially feel like you're cornering them or whatever. I mean, everything's very circumstantial. Not everything is always 100%, you know. But these things really do matter. Showing up for yourself really matters, because I'm just making sure that this is still recording, by the way. Showing up for yourself really matters, and this is how showing up for myself has really shown up in my life, you know. Because back then, I could say a few years ago, even a few months ago, right? If things didn't work out, I'd probably be in my room for like an hour or so, or however long, just really in my mind about this stuff, and like really stressing out, really like even to the point of shedding tears, you know, making like notes of like really like just sad stuff in my journal, or like a voice memo or something, you know. But coming out and going on hikes in the nature preserve, coming out, going on walks around town, coming out, going to the gym with my friend, going out with my friends, my true real friends that I feel like they're like family to me, you know. Those things, like, you know, whenever a plan comes up with my friends, I like, if I can't make it, that shit low-key breaks me, because I'm just like, well, damn, I'm just missing out on a good time. Like that's literally what happened the other day, because I was working, you know. But genuinely, all those things that I just listed fulfill me to the best of the abilities that they have, you know. And because of that, it's like, oh, like this woman that I'm talking to, she doesn't want to walk alongside me. Like, of course, it's like, I'm not saying I'm not bothered. It's definitely gonna affect me in some way, but the impact of it is less of an impact, way less of an impact than it used to be back then. Like back then, it used to really impact me. It used to really like bother me. Like I'd probably be stuck on it for months, you know. But now it's like, okay, cool. Like I said, like not 100% completely like. I thought somebody was going to pull in. I thought it was a cop too, but the guy was just driving slow. You know, but point is, yeah, retrospectively looking back to how things were dealt with before, the impact was much greater. Now it's like there is still an impact, but in terms of how I'm processing it, in terms of how I'm dealing it, going with the flow, whatever it may be, the impact is less greater, less of an impact. So, yeah, the best relationship to have is with yourself. And from then on out, any relationship you can develop with someone else, if it's adding to you, if it's amplifying what's already there, that's a beautiful thing, you know. That's a beautiful thing. But this dependency on someone else, when the fear is kicking in and all that stuff, you gotta reroute that. That's what I'm doing. I'm rerouting it by going out and recording these videos or going on walks, things that I've already listed, even in my notes app. Like if I early at the gym, like no less than an hour ago, I got a download. And by download, what I mean is something just struck me, and I'm like, I'm gonna grab my phone and write it down. And this is how I came to this sort of video, to be honest. Like, I literally came out here to record this video because of that download that I had at the gym while I was working out with my friend. I wrote a bunch down in my notes, but I knew that it was true what I was writing down, at least for me personally, because I didn't have to look at my notes before I started this video. I literally just came on out here and was like, I already know what I'm going to talk about. I already wrote it down in my notes, and we're going to go with that. So that's pretty much it. I don't know what else I could yap about. But truly, the space that I'm in now, with myself, with the people around me that show up and all those things, it's been really developing towards a better place than it was even just a few months ago, So I'm beyond grateful for how these things are playing out, and I trust in the universe that whatever is meant for me will find me. If it's not meant for me, then good riddance. I'm just not going to waste my time with it. Generally, I'm not going to waste my time with it. Like, a few months ago, I cut off some friends that I've had since childhood, and they stuck around for, honestly, much longer than they needed to, in my opinion. But it's okay. Everything unfolds and reveals itself at the time that it feels right, If I didn't cut them off before, it's because I didn't have the will. The will wasn't strong enough to do it then, but the will was strong enough at that point to do it a few months ago. So I think that's about it. Now go enjoy your life. And I really, really do mean that. That's it.